Yo, what is up, legends? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to dive into how to get that big room techno build up. Basically, Hardwell absolutely killed the main stage. I know that's why most of you guys are here watching this right now. And he brought a brand new style, a new style to most people. It was kind of a combination of techno with big room and like commercial sounds. And you'll notice that all of the build-ups were pretty much the same kind of vibe, and it was never just that the big room build up, right? The big room build up, in my opinion, is dead. It's super boring now. This is much more energetic, and it's got that techno vibe but mixed with the big room vibe. So this is what I came up with to show you guys. You hear a lot of this in Hardwell's set constantly with the drums starting on like a 16 roll, this kind of thing. It just creates way more energy than just the normal that boring EDM slow big room kind of thing. So you've got to have a little bit of blend of big room though, or it will just sound fully like a tech. Like this doesn't sound like a techno build-up. I would say it's quite EDM still. So let's go through one by one and analyze what kind of elements we'll have. So first we have a very techno, tech housey kind of drum pattern. Apologies if the audio is kind of quiet. I don't know what has happened with OBS. Every time I open it up, something new changes. So the output from FL Studio is super quiet. And I know my mic was quiet before, so I've had to bring that down as well. So apologies, I will work on it for next time. But we have this drum pattern now. I didn't just draw the standard 16. I actually added some swing in myself. So what I did was I just took these notes and slightly moved them off the grid to give this vibe. Let me just turn that EQ off. And then I just copy pasted the whole thing. Now, for this kind of sound you don't really want a hard snare. Like in Kashmir, we have hard snares. Don't pick one of those. I use the hip hop snare. It's a lot more soft and a little bit more of that house flavor, house kind of design. Then I took an EQ and just gradually introduced the high end. So as you can see, it feels very filtered right now. And it kind of opens up towards the drop. The next one is the EDM snare. Now this one is a harder snare. Originally I had but it just felt a little bit dead. So I tried this kind of pattern, which is just basically 4 to the floor, no kind of swing in there. But this one is a super big roomy snare, which is what is important. You know, Hardwell needed to keep his signature sound in there, just like me with my new sound. I needed to keep my signature sound in there, so I'm going to use sounds that I used to use before, but dressed up a little bit differently. I also added a kick in here as well, just to give a little bit more energy to the snares. Gives a little bit more body as well. And this one's super sick. It sounds super electronic and very futuristic. So there's our snares. Really not too much going on there. Just bear in mind that you don't have to have this rolling snare. This one is probably the most important. But this rolling snare does give that flavor of techno or tech house, for example. So the fill is just to give you an idea of the build-up. We have a crash in there just because this next part is something different happens. So the kick comes in as a layer. So I decided to bring that in with a crash. Just makes it a smoother transition. You see, everything changes. The energy increases there. So I wanted to put a crash there to kind of make the transition smoother and signal that. We have a crazy effects sound. This is onto the riser section of effects. This one's really cool. It has that techno vibe. If you're gonna find effects for this, try not to use big room risers. Try and look for techno risers. Try and look for future wave risers as well. It's important that you use all these sounds because the end product will sound too big room if you're using big room sounds, but too future wave if you're using only future wave sounds. So try and get a nice blend. Like we've got the big room snares, so let's use techno and future wave kind of risers. Got simple FX downlifters, but you guys know how to do this at this point. I like this one a lot. Together they sound good. Big sub drop I noticed Hardwell uses a lot. I like to use them as well. Some techno loops. Gives that vibe that it still is a techno influenced song. We've got some risers from Rave Room. This sample pack will drop on the 31st of this month for my Patreon squad. So it's got all the sounds from Rave Room in it. So there's a lot of good big room techno sounds in there. Got some flanges. Long sweep. Quite noisy but great for the energy. And then we come onto the master and the effects. So if we jump to the master, I tend to do this a lot. Endless Smile is the first one. Let's check the Endless Smile, which is this one. So as you can see, I am just increasing on a 25% incline up to about 68%. So as you can see, this also already makes a good difference. Sounds a little bit more techy. You know, you don't get too much reverb in big room build-ups. With the techno and tech house and stuff, the reverb is a big thing there. And also in my own music, I love to use the Endless Smile and stuff. This is an EQ that I always put on my master now, and basically I take away the low end from the whole master. So that's from the FX, from the drums, from the synths, from the vocals, whatever's in my build-up gets reduced. And then it all comes back when the drop comes. You want to make your drop as big and as